You're not you're not a 15-year-old. But that might just be me because I'm such a grandma, and I reward kind of boring men. And I think that that's actually a great life to live in the long run because it's contentment.
Well, so I want to ask, is that it? The goal is contentment?
The goal is peace over pleasure. That's all.
Why is that better?
Because it's biochemically better. There's different serotonin is released when we're actually at peace rather than, during dopamine releases. So biologically it's better. It's better for your nervous system. It's better for your hormones. It's better for that, but also it's better for you psychologically. It's better to just commit to what you have rather than focus on alternatives, because you almost live like a crack addict. Always wish what's going on. The peace that you get where it doesn't matter what's going on. I've decided to commit to this situation, whether it's work, whether it's woman, this, that, and the other. I've decided to commit, and now I'll ward off alternatives. That's how we actually achieve peace in any decision we make. Even when we're deciding a holiday, just pick one and stick to it, and you're more likely to enjoy and appreciate than if you kept looking at alternatives. It's one of the reasons why buffets, people don't enjoy the food so much. There's so many alternatives. The problem is we are inundated, men and women, with alternatives, which makes peace a very distant dream now.
So how do we cultivate peace then in the modern world?
You try and avoid alternatives. Whatever decision you make, you try your best to absolutely avoid alternatives. But when you're picking something or picking a partner or whatever it is, in order to create peace, is instead of focusing on the millions things that you like about the person, just focus on your deal breakers. She might be beautiful, she might be great at sex, she might be all of these things. But if she has one or two of your deal breakers, maybe your deal breaker is loyalty, or maybe your deal breaker is like she doesn't get on with your family, whatever it is. Even if she's got one of those deal breakers, there's no point going to it. You'll get pleasure, but you won't get peace from this relationship. Same thing with women. He might be a million great things. He might be a great father. He might be really intelligent. He might be all of these things. But if he's really distant and cold to you, or if he's, can be a bit abusive, or if he's just not very affectionate to you, and that's a deal breaker to you, your relationship will be filled with chaos. So pick somebody with no deal breakers rather than just all the things that you love about them.
You said earlier that you actually think people should wait to marriage to have sex. Mm-hmm. For real in practice?
Well, no, I agree with the concept. I really do agree with the concept. I know it's going to be very difficult. And I have to preface this. I have contradicted myself on this a couple of times, and I'll tell you why. Because I recently said men who do not get women in their youth really struggle with commitment as an adult. And what I mean by that is, if they were a jock in school and got all the girls, you'll find men that were the jocks and really successful in getting all the girls when they're in high school, you'll catch up with them on Facebook. They have very average jobs, have very average wives, they're usually a bit overweight, whatever it is, and they're just coasting along. And whereas the men that didn't get any girls, if they've had a glow up, they're just surrounded by girls all day, every day. And I really think what happens is, at a young age, if you learn the art of getting the girls you want, doesn't mean every girl, but the girls you want, you remove them from their pedestal and you can settle down a bit easier. But when you don't have access to women, when you're in your young age, you will forever be motivated by the desire to have women. So even your work, you'll be like, okay, I can get more girls. Or even when you're working out, I can get more girls. Everything becomes revolves around girls. So those men, they might get married, they might settle down, but they'll crave the women that they couldn't access when they're young, because I feel like that's a formative age of your self-esteem. So I always just say, I do understand that. I've said that before. But when I talk about getting girls, I don't mean having sex with girls. I mean the ability to reject women. Some men have only been rejected by women, and they've never said no to a woman, ever, because they've just been the ones that are always getting rejected. But other men have been with women, not been with women, got girls, not got girls. They're like, okay, I can't be bothered with her today anymore. They've learned that skill where you can say no, you can turn it down. Those men, I feel like, tend to be better partners. What do you think?
I don't think that people should wait to have sex. Mm-hmm. Not wait for.
I don't think it's realistic sex in this day and age, sadly.
Not even realistic. So I'm giving you what I think is just wise. Yeah, so if I'm trying to lead you to human flourishing, I think there are a lot of things that go into sexual chemistry, and you're not going to know if you have sexual chemistry until you actually have sex. So I get.
But do you also think that when you don't know if you're going to have it, and then you're just with one person, you don't have it, you're more committed to creating sexual chemistry?
Yes, for sure. And so going back to you and I both believe that there should be restrictions. I just believe that they should be self-imposed. Yeah. You believe they should come from God. However people get them, I'm happy as long as they aren't forced upon them from the outside. Mm-hmm. But when I think about, there is sort of you need to build up desire. Yeah. So you should be hungry. So if I were single, then I'm not going to be looking at porn, certainly not as we come up towards the weekend if I'm about to try to go out and get laid, because you're going to need that hunger built up before you're willing to take the risk and all of that. I am going to invest in my vision of what a shared future is going to be, why I want a woman, what are the things that are emotionally healthy for me, what does that look like? I'm going to map my values. I've been talking about what I wanted in a wife since I was like 18. So and the thing is that ended up working for me because one, I knew it when I saw it. Because I literally laid out, here are the things that I'm looking for from values, from traits. And when I found it, I was like, oh, wow, like this is, I remember saying I'm either never getting married or I'm marrying this girl. I love to say how that played out. So I do think all of that is important, but I also think that just like it is very fair of people to say that I can't possibly understand what it actually means to have a child because I don't have a child. You can't possibly understand what it means to have sex if you've never had sex. And given how important that's going to be for the rest of your life, not trying it's going to be hard.
Is there a reason why men value it so much more? Like, is it like, why does your life revolve around it so much? I'm so curious.
You mentioned this earlier and you said a phrase that was so accurate that I wanted to like say something.
Why didn't you?
Well, because I think it's good to map what somebody thinks first. But now I'll go back to it and say, you said they're obsessed with vagina.
Yes.
Both of those words are accurate. Literally obsessed.
Why?
And well, evolution has guaranteed it, right? So I didn't do anything to want that. I didn't even grow up with pornography. So, I mean, it was there, but it was really hard to get a hold of. So, until I was probably 25, I maybe saw 10 different women.
But it didn't hijack your young, because your prefrontal cortex would have been developed by then.
No.
So
well, by the time
you got it, so it wasn't hijacked.
Mid-20s for sure. But pornography did completely derail me when I was a kid. I actually went on a trip when I was like 18. So I went on it back to back. So 1 year I was either 16 or 17, can't remember exactly, and then 18. And when I went and wasn't old enough to buy a Playboy magazine, I actually think it was Penthouse, but I wasn't old enough to buy